It's the beginning of May, and Saranda announces the official opening of the tourist season. In a symbolic way, the town throws open its doors to thousands of visitors and holiday makers. About 300,000 people came to Saranda last summer. This number is subject to a rapid increase, because this area at the coast of the Ionian Sea is constantly attracting attention nationally and internationally. But what has to offer Saranda to the holiday makers and visitors? As never before, we are going to show you the natural and cultural treasuries offered by the surrounding of this bay, shaped as a horseshoe. The seascape is dominated from the heights, where is situated the monastery of the 40 Saints that gave its name to the bay and to the town. Maintenance works are carried out here, as well as further researches on the history of this monastery, thought to have been built in the 5th century after Christ. Its subterranean space is an extensive and elaborated crypt, a labyrinth of chambers, vaulted halls, passages, and chapels. The monastery was bombed during World War II. Not much has remained from the original building, but quite enough to understand the magnificence of this basilica that has been an important pilgrimage site for the Christians dwelling along the Adriatic coast and the inner Balkans. Votive inscriptions made in red tile record the names and devotions of a series of individuals. The basilica gave its name to the bay, thus challenging the name Onesimus, mentioned in the 2nd century by Cicero, who, writing about a trip he made from Butrinti to Rome, says that a favorable wind was coming from Onesimus. This is a fragment of the town's entry gate from the harbor. Ancient Onesimus is mentioned by Straboni, Dionysius of Halicarnas, and Ptolemeus. Fragments of the 850 meters encircling wall, part of which disappears under the seawater, can be seen in the premises of this hotel. Decorating the interior, the wall is also well preserved. Further on, we encounter fragments of the wall behind a huge building. The wall dates back to the 5th century, in the period of Roman Emperor Anastasius. In the center of the town, there are the ruins of a synagogue of the 6th century before Christ. It brings evidence of the presence of a Hebrew community in Onesimus. Later on, the synagogue was converted into a Christian basilica. The mosaic belongs to the main prayer hall. The Hebrew University of Jerusalem has sponsored part of the excavations. The entire floor of this small museum building is made of mosaics. This is something common to important buildings of the Roman and Byzantine periods. It brings evidence of the existence of a large number of lavish houses. Apparently, this area has been attractive to wealthy people over the centuries because of its mild climate conditions. The Middle Age period witnesses the dwelling center being transferred on Le Courcy hilltop, with a 360-grade angle view of the sea and the plains from the south, the north, and the east. An old and magnificent castle attracted Ali Pasha in the 18th century. He invested to rebuild the castle and the port downhill in view of the increasing trade traffic in this area. Today, both of them are parts of the increasing tourist traffic. The castle of Le Courcy is a must for the visitors, not only to obtain historical information, but also to enjoy striking vistas. The small church near the main entry gate of the castle offers fragments of these frescoes of the late Byzantine style. The town's beaches get crowded starting from early May. This is the most recent public beach inaugurated last summer. It is early July, and there are many young people that do not have the time to sit at the beach. These are the students of the University of Saranda that have to take their exams. The university was opened in 2006 with know-how from the Tirana University and the personal initiative of the city mayor. The plans are to double and even triple its capacity in the near future. Saranda is now graduating locally the managers of the businesses connected with the development of tourism, industry, agro-tourism, fishery, land and maritime transportation. The production of watermelon has witnessed a boom recently. The locally grown watermelon is particularly tasty and sweet. Suddenly, it's a fruit that won't be missing in the cocktail party organized in the village of Saint Basil on this particular occasion. Today there is the inauguration of the monument erected to honor the Austrian prisoners of the Italian army that lost their lives in forced labor for the construction of the Riviera Road during the First World War. The age-long plane tree of the village, absolute witness of times and events. Now in the era of tourism, the Riviera Road is being turned into a highway. We are to follow this road that brings you to Saranda from the north in order to show some of the unique natural beauties along the Ionian Sea line. First comes the stunning beach of Kakome, with its old monastery bearing the same name. Then there is the sea, or better say, one of its most beautiful portions. Swimming in these waters gives a particular feeling, something connected to the crystals and to the diamonds, that urges you to surrender to the nature. If this northern itinerary begins with the miracle Kakome, it proceeds further with the mysterious virginity of the so-called cave beach. its mystical emptiness is very inviting. This place possesses the magic to advance unprecedented feelings, while the legs move you unconsciously towards the sea. Here, one starts feeling like a poet and becomes able to articulate metaphors sourced out not from the inspired brain, but from the marveled soul. Now is the turn of tens of smaller secluded sandy niches. There are the lucky ones to find their own niche with a natural jacuzzi. The cave beach, ideal place for swimming, playing, camping out, and even horse riding. A few more kilometers direction north, while the road winds among biblical sceneries. The taste of baked fish brings water into the mouth right at the 1.5-kilometer road deviation that leads to the beach of Bunets. Bunets is a place for families and intimate groups of people. Hilltop-placed villages have narrow streets and stone walls enclosing flourishing house gardens. These comfortable houses are perfect hubs for daily combing the numerous beaches along the road. The day could be enriched with some history by taking a look at the ruins of the ancient dwelling site around the castle of Borshi that dates back to the 3rd century before Christ. There are some hotels in Borshi, as well as many village houses with flourished gardens. Vegetables and fruits grown by the villagers aren't only bioproducts, but they make you feel a bit as a guest in the Eden's garden. Probably here is the place where a simple photo of a still nature rivals with any painting in regard to the dance of the colors. The frequent and wonderful change of the colors of the sea in the beach of Borshi are a result of the unique way the Mediterranean sun shines on the area for around 300 days a year. With crystal clear drinking waters and plenty of olive tree shadows, Borshi is the ideal place for camping out very close to the sea. Now it's time to drive back to Saranda, tuned to the polyphonic folk song. The town, with its lavish beaches, is a useful station for those people who come to Saranda bringing along their sailing equipment. Sailing along the coastline, unprecedented vistas are unfolded, most of them worth of making award-winning postcards. Uphill there is the history. The ruins of the Dema wall and an old monastery already reconstructed to resume its traditional functions. From here, stunning vistas of the seascape and of the beach with the same name. Natives call this one the Beach of Mirrors, thus associating it with the rocky surroundings that reflect the sun rays. There is a lot of preference for this beach, where the naked nature sharply contrasts itself. The cliff and the water, the rigid and the succulent, typical environment for people of strong emotions. For these German tourists, the discovery of this beach is the triumph of the day. There are also others who share the same idea. Then, stepping down through the cliffy pathway towards the Ionian blue, true paradise. Further down south, near Xamil, the road takes several deviations to some other beaches. The paradise here has its own gastronomic section. Among olive trees, the road takes you to this beach that has something softer in the way the rock hugs the shore. Back to the town's port, the back and forth of the motorboats reminds you that, in Saranda, there are many those who seek the satisfaction of discovering what you already experienced in this area of Albania. But there is more, much more. In the most updated tourist info, Albania is mentioned as a new Mediterranean passion. Probably Saranda is the most inspiring element of this passion. The town restaurants, where there is cooked mostly seafood, offer special relaxation for the stomach and for the soul. The views of crowded beaches merge with that of a dynamic street movement, a common feature of such lovely holiday centers. Saranda is all about a big family of holiday makers whose people scatter around daily in search for maximally personalized fun. With its verdant coastline, Saranda town is able to offer absolute privacy in a group atmosphere. Of particular interest is checking the microclimates in this area. Driving from the east direction Saranda, at some relative height, one could bump into chestnut trees. That is a characteristic of colder areas. But after passing past these canyons, entering the town, there are the bananas to hail you warmly, with their flower shaped like a color of jewels. Then the pepper tree, with its fruit still to ripe, and its robust bowl. Schinus terbinthifolius. This kind of pepper tree reminds of Brazil. The local artist makes use of the oud to carve his masterpieces. Daily life and human characters are represented there with a slight sense of humor. Now we resume traveling east. Certainly, the upstream of these waters won't have such an urban look. Quite the opposite. It brings you to a magnificent oasis, but a forest tamed by the humans, as an XXL, extra large liquid eye. Scientifically called Vauclusion, these springs are a source of legends worldwide. And there is the usual young girl to be ritually slaughtered or given up to appease a beast. But all this sounds quite bizarre in front of the young girls and boys who enjoy challenging the icy waters. The Blue Eye is one of the most visited places not only because of its magnificent water spring, but also because it's a true oasis of fresh air that hides people from the scorching Mediterranean sun. Further on, the water sourced from the Blue Eye offer another outstanding landscape. Let's enjoy it for a while together with this couple of motor riders. The Lake of the Blue Eye, with a nature's warranty for the absolute purity of the water.
dans le Mésopotamie. C'est un petit peu plus loin donc.
Not far from the Blue Eye, the French family is planning a visit to Mesopotamia, while their sidecar makes you wonder how it might have room enough for 4 people to drive not simply from A to B, but from A to Z, traveling around the world. These are a team from the University of Venice, carrying out photogrammetric measurements with laser scanner. The mythical creatures carved in stone are common to many medieval European cathedrals. Inside, the floor still contains fragments of the original tiles with decorations of Anjou style. Under the blue paint of the walls, there are still the fragments of original frescoes. With its unique architectonic style, the 700-year-old Cathedral of St. Nicholas is one of the jewels of Saranda. The French family decide to have lunch a few kilometers from here, along the road from Saranda to Delvina. This place bears a Turkish toponym and is called Karahaj. Everybody seems to be embraced by a common wave of romanticism. Today is the 15th of August, and the Christians gather in the village of Costa to celebrate St. Mary's Day. The local monastery overhangs the rock face. Take a look at the window that opens mysteriously to the rock. The teeny church inside the monastery has some old frescoes on a very dark-colored background of the walls and the ceiling. Hundreds of people step into the extremely limited space of the monastery in this Memorial Day, and then they move downward to celebrate. It's interesting. In the area covering Delvina and Saranda, there are many traces of ancient constructions that create an extraordinary blend of styles and traditions. In the town of Delvina, there is the medieval castle. The team of the University of Venice is carrying out some geometrical measurements at the Bektashi complex that comprises a public wellspring, some hammams, and a holy burial chamber locally named Türbe. Further on, they are doing research work at the church-mosque complex of Rusan in order to complete a 3-dimensional map of the interaction process between Byzantine and Ottoman culture. In this area, the visitor encounters a multicultural and multi-religious tradition. It originates from an ancient hilltop dwelling site not far from the town of Delvina. This is the ancient town of Phoenike, the capital of Caonia and of the Epirot League in the years 231 to 167 before Christ. In this town, ancient Rome and Macedonia signed the peace treaty that brought to an end the Second Punic War. The huge theater is a clear evidence of a large populace, while Saranda used to be Phoenike's port. In fact, the role of Saranda as an important port in ancient times has been influenced either by Phoenike or by Butrinti. Thousands of people visit the ancient site of Butrinti in summer and winter time. It has become a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1992 and a Ramsar wetland site in 2003. Butrint is a microcosm of Mediterranean history, representing in all its phases of development the rise and the fall of the great empires that dominated the region. What you see today is an amalgam of monuments representing a time span of over 2,000 years. Butrint is a must for every visitor. Walking there is not simply walking through history, but also a nice hike onto forest lanes, sometimes bordering the lake. Then you reach the highest peak that offers great views. Down there is the peak of Aitoi, another very ancient dwelling center. Passing the beautiful village of Murcia, it serves as an orienteering point to reach the very southern town of Konispol. Close to it is the entry point to Albania from northern Greece. Konispol offers village-like sceneries as well as some urban infrastructure. There are a lot of sea figs. They taste very good, but need to be peeled very carefully to avoid the sort of powdery spines they have. South of the lake of Butrinti, there is the Vivari Channel. In front, the island of Corfu. From the picturesque airport of Corfu, in 10 minutes drive, you can reach the nearest travel office that ensures the short boat trip to Saranda. This is the view of Butrint area, while the boat sails from Corfu to Saranda. A small castle built by Ali Pasha is the reference point to return back to this tourist crossroads, where summertime witnesses a lot of traffic. The channel of Vivari, former sea entry gate to Butrinti, now can be crossed within 5 minutes with a commuter boat that represents a strange blend of primitivism and efficiency, successfully doing the job non-stop for 24 hours a day. The area of Butrint is the first station for the motorhome travelers. Here they take their first rest in Albanian soil, regroup so to say, before defining further itineraries. Very close is the lake, where the tasty mussels are grown. Round it, the fruit trees, such carefully planted by the local farmers. After Butrint comes the much preferred area of Ksamil. Let's see what Wikipedia writes about it. Ksamil, says Wikipedia, is a small coastal village in southern Albania. It's located in the city of Saranda, off the road to Butrint. It is one of the most frequented coastal resorts, both by domestic and foreign tourists. The main attractions are the nearby islets, where fresh seafood restaurants are located, and which can be easily reached by hired boat. The mainland beach is small but clean. This is one of the most extreme beaches of Ksamil, within the shortest distance from Cassiope of Corfu. And that one is the research vessel belonging to the RPM Nautical Foundation. Among the latest multi-beam and dive survey discoveries of the Albanian-American team of researchers, there was a wreck with a cargo of ceramic roof tiles of the 4th century before Christ. The setting in Saranda is perfect for professional recreational diving schools. The research vessel enters the Bay of Saranda under the strong blue marine nuances offered today by the nearing sunset. Late afternoons in Saranda are a combination of almost heavy-eyed beaches and the beginning of the animated atmosphere in the town and in its surroundings. Passions vary. The Hunters Sports Club is quite active. They say that they hardly ever return empty-handed. The Albania Wind Band Festival takes place in Saranda every summer. It has become a tradition of this lovely town. At sunset, the town streets start to liven up, but they get really crowded later at night. A championship of football for females is about to begin in the stadium near the center of the town. The evening stroll is a true socializing institution and has powerful anti-stress features. Greetings from Saranda. I'm having a great time. After a stroll in the evening, tonight we're going to Butrind at the theater show. The ancient amphitheater of Butrind will host tonight the first drama of the week-long International Festival of Theater Shows. Ksamil beaches offer their evening romantic scenery. Back again around the central little square of the town, where a national billiards competition kicks off.
Dhe parafrimi është që këta kanë pikturuar me shumë dashuri qytetin e tyre të Lidis, qytetin e Sarandës, që meriton të pikturohet edhe nga të tjerë kryetarët e Sarandës, me punët e tyre, me bizneset e tyre këtu me.
Saranda boasts of a talented group of painters. concert with a meaningful title, Chamari, I Miss You So Much. The town's municipality is very keen in enriching the cultural and artistic life during the long summertime. It's all about constantly upgrading the traditional Albanian hospitality. In the village of Livadia, the song and dance festival of the ethnic Greek minority is taking place. Their national dresses are an added value to the Albania's rich set of national costumes. Gradually the concert steps down from the stage and the audience becomes part of it. 9:00 p.m. The spectators arrive in hundreds to fill in the ancient amphitheater. Given the nature of the drama to be played tonight, the lighting style is essential in creating the atmosphere of antique times.
Nuk dua t'ja di për së patën që kokën time do t'flak më tanë, as për krenat e tjerë që do t'priten, për fundin e t'mershëm të një nëne, shfarosjen e atritve.
Now glimpses from the Wind Band Festival. Marches, jazz and well-known pieces of music are played. In the meantime, the movement of the people toward their entertainment destinations is visibly increased. Numerous bars and restaurants get fully booked. The evening stroll is now in full swing. It seems that the big family of holiday makers is very enthusiastic in carrying out this town's typical summertime ritual. Still, not everybody is there. Preferences and activities vary a lot. In the terrace of Le Courcy Castle, the stridency of the motor riders belonging to an Albanian club of American style is soon replaced by the popular dance. In Disco Africa, the audience is flabbergasted by the tricks of the magician. Then dancing and more dancing. Disco Keliani offers dancing by the swimming pools. Under imaging lights, Disco Ecuador plays the rhythms for its night clients. In the Disco Mango Beach, there is a combination of group dancing with a performance of two well-known singers. Hotel Grand has gathered hundreds of people to listen to a preferred pop music group. Saranda has 42,000 inhabitants, but during summertime, about 120 hotels and hundreds of private houses packed with tourists multiply this number by 10. The catamaran, built by a group of enthusiasts, is about to make its first sail. And while sailing, the shouts of guests arriving from ancient times are heard. Hey hope! Hey hope! The Argonauts have already entered the Bay of the 40 Saints. While the boat full of adventurers comes closer, we seek for Jason, holding in his hands the fleece made of gold. They are coming from Corfu to visit Saranda, offering a pleasant show for those who sit at the beaches, those who have just arrived at the port, and those watching from the balcony. This is the way this new summer day begins in Saranda. But today, we're going to show you something else, the beaches of the town. Along the road to the Chuca Channel, there are tens of hotels with their comfortable beaches. Many of them have also swimming pools with potable water, where one can enjoy personalized service. And while lunchtime is nearing, tables are set and kitchens prepare their special dishes, mainly with fresh seafood. The town's market offers fruits, vegetables, mussels and fish for those who prefer to cook by themselves. beaches of Saranda constitute a kind of natural terminal of its streets and squares. The seawater there is very clean, and the scenery, although not that virgin, has a lot of variety. Tourism in Saranda is in constant growth, parallel to the scale of national and international recognition of the assets of the area. Thousands of people come here from every direction, with whatever means of transportation available to them. And Saranda warmly introduces everybody to its big family of holiday makers, a family that offers unforgettable days of genuine Ionian romance.